Greetings, LEGO fans, and here it is, 1997's LEGO Island fully built out in real LEGO. What started as a crazy pipe dream of mine has slowly become a reality over the last 7 months. And now the beloved island of a generation of LEGO fans is complete. And I can't wait to show you how I built the entire residential mountain, with all the delightful surprises and nostalgic joys that lie in store. So, let's jump right into the final chapter of this epic build. Before we expand the island to its complete form, I wanted to quickly tell you about some of the awesome upgrades the former parts of the island received along the way. The most exciting to me being the minifigures. Originally, I had to create at least one custom sticker for each character to emulate their in-game appearance. Shortly after I published the first video in this series, a fan of the channel reached out and offered to create custom UV printed versions of each character. Instead of doing what I did and lifting the low-resolution textures straight from the game, she painstakingly recreated them in high definition with some serious attention to detail, and the results are pretty incredible. These honestly look like minifigures that came straight from the LEGO factory, and though I was proud of the work that I initially did with the decals, these printed versions easily blow those out of the water. But she didn't stop at just the minifigs. She also provided printed roof tiles for the pizzeria and post office, which are a huge practical and aesthetic boost. But the most welcome surprise in her parcel of goodies were 2 mini builds. The first was a much more faithful version of the consoles in the Information Center Tower. I had attempted to do this myself with stickers, but once again, this version is far superior. Not only is the build completely game accurate, but it includes completely printed versions of the control panels, a much improved radio, and even a paper airplane you can launch from the top. The other mini build was the Jukebox, which I was absolutely giddy to discover has interchangeable tiles for all the songs you can play in the game. Now that's a true fan at work right there. I'm so grateful for her contributions to this project, and if you'd like these minifig elements or mini builds for yourself, you can visit her newly created Etsy shop, Hannah's Custom Bricks. I'll leave the URL in the description of this video. I also picked up set number 6335, Indy Transport, which not only includes a huge 90s era tow truck, but 3 additional race cars that match those found in Fast Track Finish, filling out the lineup of racers and even including the green number 6 car, which you can build and race for yourself in the game. And now to the residential mountain. Of all the parts of this build, this intimidated me the most, as I knew that all that raised elevation would take a huge amount of bricks to pull off. To make things worse, my main supply of bulk, bricks and minifigs, suddenly wasn't an option for me anymore. Oh, nothing happened. I just randomly decided I'm never going there ever again forever and ever as long as I live. So, through a combination of a newly found local resale store called Twice Built and a handful of Bricklink and LEGO Pick-a-Brick orders, I was able to get what I needed, even if some of those ultra-tall Mills plates look a little haphazard underneath. The first new row of modules from what I had before adds on the post office, the completion of the beach, and the entries and exits of the interior sections of the racetrack, complete with their formidable skull and crossbones doors, once again made with some custom decals. And finally, on the northern shore is one of the most requested elements from the comment sections of previous videos, Captain Click's secret seaside cave. Even though it's something just about everyone who played the game knew about, discovering this cave felt like having your own little secret about the island, and what lay behind that door in the back was always a tantalizing mystery. Luckily for me, I can finally reveal what's behind that door, and what's that?
We want to make things right. We want to do what's right by the customer.
If only. But I did put in a nice jump scare from Captain Click himself, suggesting that this is his final resting place, from which he continues to haunt the island. The expected stalactites and stalagmites dot the whole cave, while the treasure chest contains the floating white cat, simply because the ghost and the skeleton couldn't quite fit in there. The whole cave is made easily accessible through a removable modularized road plate above, and I'm so happy with how it turned out. And on the opposite shore, Pepper finally got his skateboard, and there's an extra one for you sitting by the post office, just like you see in the game. The next row of modules is where the elevation really starts climbing, with the addition of the Super 2 store, the first of the 3 houses in the residential area, the rock bridge over the walking path underneath, and the summit of the mountain, the highest natural point on the island. Due to the 15-brick height of a large portion of this area, I briefly entertained the idea of building some sort of wooden platform to raise everything to that height without the use of so many bricks. But that quickly became impractical due to the constant elevation changes throughout. So the underside of this area is quite the mixed bag of the tallest bricks I could find to give both the height and stability necessary. With the mountain summit, the height reached a staggering 28 bricks, with its signature winding path and mixed collection of foliage on top allowing you to take in the view of the whole island. Underneath the summit is another one of my favorite additions to this MOC, a miniaturized homage to the racetrack. Lift up this whole section of mountaintop and you'll see it in all its tiny glory, including the race cars, the giant pizzas, the octopus, the jumping sharks, the space shuttle, and the most infuriating single obstacle in my childhood gaming career, the giant car-kicking skeleton, who looks suspiciously similar to the phantom pirate haunting the secret cave. Given the stability needed in this section of the build, I wasn't left with much room to create this, but I'm pretty happy with what I was able to capture in this small of a footprint. And I have Double L King on Reddit to thank for the inspiration on how to build the various Easter eggs from this wild racetrack. And the final row of modules seals everything off, adding the final 2 houses and the entire rocky western shore of the island. The 2-story house is positioned at a 45-degree angle, much like the pizzeria, and is similarly held in place with a bit of sticky tack just to keep it from wiggling. Sourcing all of these green slopes for the hillside work was a real chore, until I discovered the nicely sorted bulk at Twice Built, which made finding these a breeze, and I ended up with more than enough to finish everything I needed. At the beginning of this project, I took a wild guess at how many dark tan burps I'd need, and it turns out that I was pretty much right on, with only 3 remaining out of the 150 I ordered. For a guy whose building style is just guesswork and trial and error instead of meticulous pre-planning, I was pretty proud of that. And now that the island is complete in its real Lego form, there's something I just couldn't resist doing.
Let go. Let go.
I'm the pizza delivery dude, the dude with the food. Ollie!
Now watch this!
Be careful, Pepper. Way cool. Liberty 25, code 6.
Now that this Goliath of a MOC is done, and since many of you have been curious, I'll let you know how much all of this cost. According to my accounting for the channel, the total cost for this project came to $2,523.20. About $500 of that was for complete vintage sets, another $600 was for retired parts on Bricklink, 500 was for second-hand bulk parts, and about 850 was directly from Lego Pick-a-Brick, with the rest being miscellaneous odds and ends like sticker paper. Of course, all added together like that, it's an expensive mock project to take on. But if you spread the cost out over time, it may become less out of reach. Just think of it as 2.5 death slices and you're there. Guys, this project has been an absolute blast and a privilege to build. And along the way, I got my own kid obsessed with Lego Island 2. And she's quickly developed a strong knowledge of the characters, locations, and inside jokes of the game. A lot of times, she'd be playing it right alongside me as I built, and with each new completed section, she was so excited to see it come to life. It was a joy to see her practice and eventually beat both the jet ski and car races, along with more creative endeavors like making everyone on the island bald or wearing a chef hat. It was a reminder to me that Lego Island isn't just about the 30 minutes or so of narrative gameplay on offer, but the endless possibilities of just wandering around and seeing what you can find to create. And since she's proven herself trustworthy enough to play with the real island, it's always a fun surprise to find everyone lined up for a party at the hospital or some other shenanigans. I'll forever be grateful to this game for the hours of fun it brought me as a kid, but also the many continued hours of fun it's brought between me and her. For anyone who's local, this mock will be on display at the Brick Slopes Convention in Sandy, Utah from August 27th through the 30th. I plan to make a video covering its convention appearance as well, so stay tuned for that. If there's anything you think I can improve between now and then, let me know in the comments below. And thank you to the stalwart members of the Brick Guild who keep this channel going. And until next time, as always, keep building.